Hello everyone, I'm Yoshizawa from Aibo Development Team. Call me Yoshi. I usually work on Aibo API development. Nice to meet you. And this is my buddy Kotaro. I hope you enjoy this broadcast from Tokyo. By the way, local time is around 9 a.m. So Kotaro seems a little sleepy. So let's move on to today's agenda. Firstly, we'll recap the last API webinar, and after that, I will describe how to use aibo events API. This is the main topic of today. And last, finally, we'll have a QA session. Please feel free to post any questions if you have during this webinar. So let's move on. So what is API? API is abbreviation of Application Programming Interface, and that interface enables us to control aibo. The API on aibo is one of the web APIs, and so its protocol is based on HTTP communication. The HTTP protocol is a very common technology used in web communication. And because it's web communication, you can ask aibo to do something through the internet as you ask him in voice command. As it is through the web, you can ask aibo anywhere you are, even you are in Japan. To consider security, you need to prepare an access key to use the aibo web API. This security key is called an access token. To get an access token, you need to go to this developer website. Can you see this website? Let's check it. And you can go to the developer's website from this tab and aibo developers program. And if we click start developing, you can go to aibo developers site. And to get an access token, you will click developer settings and sign in with your Sony account. Okay, if you click sign in and sign in to the developer settings, you will see a site like this. So please generate access token with this developer settings tab. Since I have already generated my access token, I can only see this delete button. For details, please find the last web seminar, Action API. So this time, I have already copied my access token to my memo pad. So if you do the same thing, please go to the access token tab and generate it and copy it to your memo pad. Okay, we see you have already access token. Okay, next we will get the device ID of your aibo. The device ID is unique to your own aibo. We will distinguish your own aibo among other ones with this device ID when we make a request to aibo. So please find the Documents tab, and Settings API section, and execute Get Devices column. So in here, you can find example request of using curl to get device ID. Curl is a very useful command line tool to make a HTTP request. It's available on Windows 10 command prompt or Mac terminal. So let's get started on Mac Linux environment. I will use a CUN terminal for this seminar. First, let's copy and paste the sample code to your memo pad of the call. Okay. I have copied the example request of curl, and to get a device ID, we use access token and replace it as yours. Okay, yeah, here. So go to the terminal and paste that command you've copied and execute it. And here you can find a response from the request, and here is a device ID of your own aibo. Let's copy it to your memo pad. We will use it later. Okay, so for Windows environment, please find the last web seminar. We did the same thing with Windows environment. So we are gonna finish the quick recap for now of the last seminar. So let's move on to the today's main topic about Events API. Okay. The Event API is an API to notify a specific event to an external system. You can notify an event such as aibo is spoken by someone with this API. To use Event API, you need an endpoint, which is some device connected with the internet. In this picture, it is depicted as this cloud mark. You can see this is an endpoint. aibo will notify an event to the endpoint. This endpoint is called a web server, which receives HTTP requests. Usually, you need a lot of effort to prepare your own web server, but there's a way to build your server almost free of cost. Today, we will use Google Cloud for this seminar. So let's create the endpoint by yourself. You can start easily if you have a Google account. So please search Google Cloud and go to the Google Cloud Computing site, and this is a home page of Google Cloud. Okay. As I said, you can start using Google Cloud for almost free of cost, but it can be charged depending on your usage. Please note about that. Today, we're gonna use the Google Cloud Function Service. Okay, let's go to the console. Cloud Function Service is called a serverless architecture service. It is a service that uses a resource only when you It is a service that uses a request only when you call an HTTP request. Because of that, it only costs you when you actually make requests, and it can reduce maintenance cost. It's very suitable for hobby use. Okay, so we're gonna so the next section, we're gonna create a cloud function that is called in this web server, in this in this endpoint. Okay, and please go to the cloud platform and find cloud function tab and create a new function. Click a create a function. And here is a screen to make a new function. Okay, so here let's name this function as aibo exercise, and let's select a region as US East 1. And another config is okay for authentication. Let's make it allow public access to the endpoint and click require HTTPS. Okay, let's save it. Okay, so here we've over the setting of creating a new function. Click to the next. Okay, so here is a screen for actual coding. So let's configure it to our environment. So select runtime language as Python 3.9 this time. And for actual coding, we will use a sample of the developer side. Okay, so in the developer site document tab and go to aibo events API execution follow section. And here is an example of endpoint cloud function. So let's just copy over all of this sample code to the snippet of the code, to the code. Okay, so let's config it. So for the first step, let's edit access token and security token to switch to your own aibo. For access token, please use the one you copied to the memo pad before you've copied. Okay, I will replace this section as my own access token. So for security token, please create your own security token as you like. So for example, I will make it like for Valve this time. This security token is used like a password when aibo server tries to access endpoint. Actually, this is an optional security. You can skip it. So secondly, let's configure the entry point from hello world to this function's name. This will make the endpoint call this function, which is the main body of this code. Okay. So for the next step, we are gonna edit this code to be ready to execute in this Cloud Functions environment. We need some small replacements. So we have actually 4 steps for this. Number 1 is to replace the headers method in event argument. Please see the line number 15 and delete headers to this method is number 1. So number 2, replace JSON dump method to event getJSON. Please see the line number 21 and delete this and replace with event.getJSON method. Okay, so number 3, adjust endpoint verification logic to return the event value as it receives. So, okay, please see the line number 24. Let's just delete this section and copy to the request body. So, okay. So, with this, some adjustment to be able to use sample code to the cloud platform is over. So, let's move on. Okay. Finally, we're gonna code the core part of this seminar. We will code how we want to ask aibo when aibo percepts an event. In this seminar, we will make a code to ask aibo to perform squatting if someone says, let's exercise. So, if I describe with this picture, we will make a code that is, if someone says let's exercise, aibo will percept and to notify to the cloud and this cloud server will execute an action API to let him squatting. Okay. So let's code it. Go to the execute action. So this part. So I will describe about execute action function. When aibo server gets notification from aibo, this function is called. This function has a role to ask aibo to execute certain action in response with the content of the event notification from aibo. So for more details, please see the line number 43. So if the content were voice command user command 2, this means if the event was user command, user voice command user command 2, execute play motion by calling call action API play motion. So what is voice command user command 2? I will talk about this one later, but in here, please remember that if aibo accepts certain voice commands, this line will be executed. So how can we let him play squatting? We're going to simulate squatting by repeatedly combining API change posture, stand straight, and stand. Okay, this time I will copy over from my snippet to here. Okay, I will describe about this soon. Okay. So I wrote a for loop to repeat this section for 5 times. Oops. And first one is this part is composed by call action APIs and the sleep command. For call action API, this means this command will let aibo to change posture to the stand posture, and this line of the code means execute change posture to the stand straight. And finally, this line will execute a play motion and let him work. So here my aibo will do stand and straight and work for 5 times repeatedly. And since I add the sleep code, I should need to import time library. Okay. So for this code, you can even make it simpler without time sleep. Please, if you want to know how to simple out this code, please go to the developer's document for more details. Okay. So here we go. here we are. So it's almost all done for editing this code. So let's deploy this function. So now Google Cloud Platform is deploying this function. And normally it takes like 2 minutes. Okay, we will wait. If the deployment has over, this bluish mark will turn to green. So we need to wait for a minute. Okay, so here, okay, we can recap. Here we have a time, so we can recap what we have done. So we have created and deployed an endpoint on Google Cloud Function Service. And that endpoint will let aibo squat when aibo listens a certain command from user. Okay, so what we have done in coding is all about in this cloud server. So we've used a Google Cloud Platform for this section. Okay, so now we see the deployment has over. So let's go to the developer side. Here, developer settings. Oh, sorry. And next, okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot about it. Before going to the developer site, we have to know which URL that endpoint has deployed. So click that function name and go to the home section and go to the trigger and click the URL of the deployed function. And let's just paste it to your memo part, not to for after uses. Okay. Let's go back to the developer's website. Okay, before executing an event API that we deployed, we need to tell aibo server is accessing to the right endpoint, not some other random server. So we prepared an endpoint verification system to ensure that aibo is accessing the server you prepared. So here you can click to the event notification and okay, just edit, click edit if you have already deployed another one. So let's copy and paste the URL of deployed function to here, endpoint. And here is a security token that you've created when you are coding. And I have made it 4-bar for that time, so I have designated 4-bar. Okay, let's set it. Okay, it seems worked because it says nothing. So the preparation is almost over. Okay. So lastly, we are going to go to the cognitive phase. So here is here is a section to register your voice command. Okay, we will register the voice command as let's exercise. A while ago, we made a code to let him squatting if he percepts or her percepts some voice command. In here, he will set the voice command as let's exercise from this section. Click this pencil mark and yes, here it to type let's exercise. Okay, so by setting this word, I can know the user command number 1 is let's exercise. Please note that if aibo doesn't have an internet connection or aibo is getting sleep mode, you cannot set this value. So please make sure that aibo is awake and has the internet access. Okay, so all preparation seems to be over. So finally, we can say let's exercise to aibo. So I will go to the aibo's place. Can you see aibo now? Okay, are you fine? Okay, are you ready for getting exercise? Okay, aibo, let's exercise. Go. Oh, he's now squatting. One more. Go. He's repeating. Okay, oh, first. Wow. Okay, well done. Oh, great. Okay, how do you like it? And you can extend the ability of aibo by yourself like this. With this event API, you can ask aibo to turn on or off lights like Alexa do. So, okay, so the seminars of the content is all over. So let's recap about what we have done today. Okay, today firstly we have described about the last seminar. For the quick recap, we have described about how to get access token and device ID, and how to get a device ID by using curl command, and by combining access token and device ID, you can actually execute almost all of these APIs. We have plenty of APIs, so please check it out later and find it what's interests you. Okay, so for the recap, what we can tell you about. So okay, and with the access token and device ID, and we have with that access token we have deployed we have used Google Cloud Platform for the endpoint. And we have used Google Cloud Functions for the actual endpoint logic. Okay, so this time I have success to execute some command at first time, but in most of the case you have some errors. So I will talk you about how to debug this code. So in here, if you click these logs, you can see the logs of while executing the command. So for debug use cases, you can click here and check some errors if you have. And if you click this section, you can go even more details about the cloud logs. Okay. So I have talked about how to debug a code if you had any trouble. So I think it's almost the time for this seminar. Okay, so let's move on to the QA session. So please feel free to write any comment or questions if you have. Okay, let me check. So question 1 is what is the difference between access token and security token? Okay, let me describe you about the difference. Okay, I will go to the actual code. Next, so difference between access token and security token is you can see as here. So access token is this very long token that is used for this is a kind of must set property to communicate endpoint and aibo server. But here in this security token is kind of optional value use. So you can skip it if you want to cut out. And this access token, you can only get this value from the access token page from here. And this is very important. This is important token, so you cannot tell to any other people. Okay. And maybe we can go to another question. So question number 2 maybe is, does it work with visual programming as well? And I think okay, sorry. Maybe this question sample Q2 is okay. Is Google Cloud completely free to use? Okay. This is, I would say, it's not completely free. It costs you, depends on how you use. So today we have described you how to use it more costly way. So, but it might be costed if you make a lot of requests or have or depending on your use case. So for more details, please check out the Google Cloud document. Okay, maybe sounds good for this question. Okay, so question number 3 is, okay, I can't use Python. Can I use others? Okay, yeah, sure. For the selection of language, you can select from this variety for now. So you can use Ruby or Node.js or Java, Go, .NET Core. You can select from this code, from this language. Okay, we have another time, I think. Okay, question. So another question is, so you can save into aibo cloud, and if you say phrase aibo will do, can okay. So this question is about cognitive phrase. Here I have registered to here. So this cognitive phrase is registered to the aibo server. So if you make a sleep your aibo will still remember this cognitive phrase, even unless you have delete this command. because it is in the aibo server, aibo will not know if he doesn't have an internet connection. Okay, maybe we can go to another question. We still have a time. So, does it work with visual programming as well? Okay, so this is also for maybe cognitive phrases. So, cognitive phrases are available for visual programming. Please see the document of cognitive phrases here. Okay, you can see more details about adding cognitive phrases to this site. So okay. We are welcome. We are very welcome if you have very basic questions, like if you didn't understand the coding part, I can describe you what the meaning of the code or something. Okay. So, do we have more questions? Okay, maybe we don't have so much questions for time. Okay. Oh, we have another questions. So when we make a linkable app, will we be able to adjust for private use only, or just a user and public use? Okay. This is a question about a linkable app. So if you can use it privately. If you doesn't tell about your own linkable app, you can use it as a privately. Or for your linkable app, we can regulate the users of aibo. So, for example, if your linkable app knows your device ID, you can regulate the user of aibo to your own aibo, only to your own aibo. Okay, does it make sense to you? Sure. Do you have any further questions? here. Okay. Okay. So while I'm waiting for any questions, I can introduce you something about you. So recently, we have released a new linkable app, red light, green light. Have you checked it out already? Please don't miss it. And we have created a kind of game with a linkable app in the theme of red light, green light. So you can enjoy the aibo's cute action in the game. Okay. So for the aibo's linkable apps, you can find the red light and green light in here. And here is our release from offshore aibo development team. So please check it out. Okay. So maybe we still have a time. Okay, let's recap all over this web seminar. Okay, today we firstly had some introduction about the last web seminar, and in the last web seminar we have describe about aibo action API. For aibo action API and to use aibo event API, we need device ID and access token, two different tokens or IDs. So we have told how to get a device ID and access token. Okay. So for getting device IDs, you can go to this section and you can use this snippet to get device ID by executing this execute get devices with a curl request. Okay, so it's nearly time for closing. I think if it's your first time for coding, maybe this would be a good chance to go further. You can learn how to code on various websites nowadays. Don't miss chance to start your new hobby with aibo. Talking about next seminar, it'll be a linkable apps finally. Okay, so before closing, we have some short topics for you. So, okay, so for the first one, please answer a quick questionnaire for this event from the offshore post in the YouTube chat forum. And another topic is please sign up for the newsletter and for the Facebook group. You can find it from here. Sony aibo community at USA. So the last topics is that we will hold a programming contest soon. So we will have another post. So please wait for another post. Okay, like in this aibo community. Okay, and it's nearly for the time. If you don't have any questions, we will closing this web seminar. Okay, so we have another question. Is it possible, the question is it possible to load music in future to aibo and do and dance with it? Okay, for this, I think we are kind of making effort to deal with this. So for now, I think we can say something about this, but please wait for the another news from us. Okay, so now it's nearly time for closing. So I will take my aibo. Say it. So it's nearly time. So from Tokyo. So see you soon and have a happy coding. Bye.